Hey, welcome back to Seduction Tech, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a more, philosophical take on how you can be stronger so you can attract the people that you want to attract in your life. So, the first, the thing that you need to realize is that there's a difference between you being self-sufficient and having your own power and being reliant on other people and not having any power. So what that means is you have to learn to be alone, and you have to learn how to handle being lonely. Now, there's a difference between being lonely and being alone. Huge difference. Being lonely is a feeling. You feel lonely. You feel, because you can be lonely and not be alone, and you can be alone and not feel lonely, and vice versa, because you can be around people around you all the time and still feel lonely. Now, you can be alone by yourself and not feel lonely, because the difference comes to how you perceive what you're going through, and what you're going through is always temporary. Human beings, just like we breathe air and eat food, we need other human being energy, to put it that way. It's actually something that you need, because you can actually be alone all of your life, and that will be the end of existence, right? Because if you don't procreate it, and I'm getting a little bit too deep into the biology of things, but human beings need each other to continue being and surviving and living. But you can't be an extremist, right? You can't constantly need to be around people if you want to hold your own power. You got to be your own power source. You can't be around people 24 hours a day, because you know, it's almost like there's some people that can't be alone. It's a need. They need to be talking to someone. They need to be texting someone. They need to be on the phone call. They need to be doing something so that people are around them, and they have this anxiety of being alone. And that's a lot of times you get into relationships that you can't leave because you're afraid of being alone and being lonely and all of these feelings. And no, you can't do that. You got to be your own power source. And when you are your own power source, people gravitate towards you, because a lot of people need that power. They need that. So they'll come to you because they want to plug in to your electricity, to your power source, so they can get recharged. And if you want to, there's only two people, either people that are looking for a power source, or you are the power source. And you become a power source when you learn to be alone, and you learn to perceive the temporary emotion of loneliness as just part of being that power source. You know, like when you're a leader in any field, it's lonely, because you are the leader. You are the one that people look up to for decisions. You are the example. So there is no other power source that, you can plug into, because you are the power source. So learning to be alone and not needing to be around people is huge. Now, you could also go the other extreme, where you're just a loner, and all you want to do is, just watch TV on your own, or be at home by yourself, or you don't want to be around people. You become antisocial, and that's something it's a behavior that is learned, because you can be an introvert that don't really feel comfortable around people and still be around people. Now, when you become antisocial, where you're just connected to a way of life on your own, that's also a dangerous extreme, because you still need that energy to flow, and you need the people around you. So if you really want to become a magnet of attraction, and you want people to be able to see you as a power source, as they want to gravitate towards you, and any woman that sees you walk into a room, they know that there's something different about you. Okay, this guy is not your normal average guy. This guy is on another level. You don't even need to do anything. You don't have to wear anything fancy. You don't have to have the fanciest cars. You don't have to have money. You don't have to have any of that. Power source is power source. Electricity when you feel it. I don't know if you ever gotten shocked. It's electricity. So when you become that power source, women will come to you. You could be anywhere. You could be at Starbucks ordering a coffee, and they start laughing. Hey, there's something magnetic about power. And like I said, there's the artificial power of money, and you can have money, and you can have that actual financial power, and you can have things immaterial, but nothing beats that organic human power source, because if you combine that with money, with success, that's where you're unstoppable, right? But if you're in your journey towards that success, then you need to still become the power source, walk into any room, command attention, and that comes from you being alone. And, to tell you about how I discovered this is that in my lifetime, I've been forced to be alone a lot of different times for different reasons. And in the past, I've always just try to resolve that. I always like, oh no, no. I look for, I go back to society. I just want to be social, and I go to parties, and I go meet people, I go with my friends. I'm talking to someone on the phone. Like, I constantly kept myself busy. And then I realized that wasn't doing me any good. The last time that I felt alone and lonely and all of that, and I felt like I needed to get out of that, I was like, nah, let me stay here. Let me explore this, right? And then I figure out I really didn't like me. You know, like, that's the reason that I didn't want to be alone. I didn't like to be with me. That's a huge problem when I'm with me 24 hours a day for the rest of my life. So I needed to resolve that. I said, well, what is it about me that I don't like? And I started fixing those things. And I started becoming the person that I would want to be with. And then once I started getting into love being with me and become my friend, and I'm like, yo, I don't need anything else except me and me. The power I just felt it. I still feel it, right? But the reason that I warn you about the extreme is because you can get to a place that you are like, have everything you need within yourself, for yourself, that you rather be by yourself. And that's dangerous because it can become a place where you can't get out of. You don't want to get there either. You know, you want to really have a balance. The reason why is because energy needs to flow. A river that is not flowing is going to dry up. And a river that's not flowing is a river that all kinds of bacteria, it just gets dirty. The river needs to flow. And the faster it flows, the better it flows, the more beautiful the river, and it starts forming life. So you as a river, you got to look at yourself as a river. You can't worry about the other rivers. You got to be able to be that river on your own, that power source on your own. But at the same time, you can't be stuck being by yourself. You got to float to the ocean. So you got to be balanced in being alone, learning to love you, to like you. Like, you got to love hanging out with you. If you can go somewhere and eat by yourself, you got a problem. If you can't go to the movies by yourself, if you can't do anything by yourself, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about you, right? But again, if you can't do anything with people either, that's the other bad extremes. Become that power source by learning to be by yourself. Make it a point. Like, okay, I'm going to be by myself. I'm not going to talk on the phone. I'm not going to text. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to be by myself. And at first it's hard, especially if you're not used to it, because you're going to run into some things that you don't like about you. And that's the beauty of it. That's what you want to get to. So I'll give you this piece of advice because no one told me this, and I had to learn the hard way, because when you're alone, that's a whole nother journey that we'll talk about later, but it gets tough. You got to face a lot of realities about yourself and about your life that you can always easily mask up if you keep busy, if you keep your mind occupied on other things. So become your power source, love you. If you don't like you, then women are not going to like you. That's the bottom line of this is, if you don't like you, no one's going to like you. If you don't like you, how can you expect other people to now come and like you or love you? It's just impossible. So fix you, become your power source, and let life come gravitate towards you. Become that flowing river and never stop.